15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football.
What's up, Ken folk? Welcome back to Bubba and the Old Man. Today, first stream on StreamYard. They're making it very, very obvious that we're on StreamYard. There's 3 logos on the screen because I ain't paying $40 for that bullshit. Today, we're talking realistic expectations for Jackson Arnold. Say what's up, old man.
What's up, Ken folk?
He has returned. He shows up about once every 5 months. 5 months. This is a decent turnaround rate.
I did not have to work tonight.
Before we get into anything, answer it in the comments. Should Jackson shave the goatee?
Might be his source of strength, like Samson.
My personal prediction for next season with Jackson Arnold is 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 64% completion percentage, and 350 rushing yards, which, depressingly enough, this would be one of the best passing seasons in Auburn history.
It would.
This would be a solid year. Hugh Freeze quarterbacks tend to have a high turnover ratio. You look at even Chad Kelly's best season, his first season as a starter under Hugh Freeze, it was, I think he had 13 interceptions that year. Malik Willis had a lot of turnovers. Bo Wallace was notorious for turnovers. So I don't expect that to really change here, but I think if you're getting 2.8 touchdowns for every 1 pick, that's a solid season. 64% completion. Wish that would be up around 67%. But he was about 62.9% last year, and he does tend to have some bad decisions as a drop back passer. So I'd expect it to be around 64%, and then 350 rushing yards. He really got wheels like that.
Yeah, I think after looking at yours, I may have overestimated him on his ceiling.
You think so?
Maybe.
We'll see. The old man's prediction, 3,200 yards, 22 touchdowns, 8 picks, 64% completion, 750 rushing yards.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to get the wheels going. That's his ceiling. I think that's Auburn wins 10 games, beats one of Georgia or Alabama, and that's best case scenario.
You think so?
I do. I think that 3,200 yards, 22 touchdowns to 8 picks, 750 rushing. Now, I didn't give him a rushing total touchdown, so, but, that touchdown total could be more because I figure he's going to get some on the ground.
So what you think, around 7-ish?
Yeah, I think it'll be 28, 29, maybe 27 total touchdowns.
Nice.
But he did have fumble issues at Oklahoma.
That's one of my main concerns with him is his fumble problem. Because I think he's going to keep the ball pretty clean for the most part. Because that's something that he really did down the stretch of the year. For the first, up until he got benched, he had 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
When he came back from the end of that South Carolina game to the end of the year, he threw 0 interceptions. He kept the ball really clean and he played very conservative. So now I do think with ramping up the aggressiveness with the offense, taking a lot more deep shots because we have the receivers capable of doing that. I mean, Dad, he basically was throwing to us last year. It looked rough. It looked rough. I watched every game post benching. It was bad. It was really bad. When they got Deion Burks back, that helped a little bit, but he was clearly not healthy. Being without his top 6 receivers for the majority of the year. In his best game, his best receiver was a walk-on kid named Jacob Jordan. He was a little 5'9" white kid with the Bieber cut and frosted tips.
And I've watched some I guess what you'd call experts, some cats that played the position break down his film. And out of the ones I watched, I think Aaron Murray was more in the center, calling out the good plays, the bad plays, where he needs work, where he don't need work. The kid has the tools. Everything is there, the arm strength. When he has somebody to throw it to, for the most part, the accuracy is there. He's not going to be perfect by no means, but he's not going to be Peyton Thorne out there making me pull what I have left of my hair out.
If y'all don't know, that's how he got the goatee. That's how the old man got the goatee. He pulled the rest of the beard hair out watching Peyton Thorne play quarterback.
Yeah, it was bad. It got to where there at the end of the year, I didn't know if I was going to be able to watch Auburn football.
Yeah, it was frustrating. It was definitely frustrating at times. He definitely has all the tools. He had, in my opinion, when we signed him, the second best arm talent in the portal next to Malik Murphy, and he has a lot more athletic traits than Malik Murphy. He's got some gamesmanship to him. When he gets into his bag, he does resemble some of that Baker Mayfield comparison he had coming out of high school. It's just, it seemed like the closer we got to the end of the year, he lacked confidence a lot.
And the player I think Auburn would have done better to get would have been Carson Beck, but we don't know if Beck is gonna play.
We don't know how well he recovers from that UCL injury because that's very unpredictable. Very unpredictable. And he wasn't in the portal at the time.
And
we don't know if he would have been interested in Auburn at all.
Right. And from what I've been hearing and reading, he wasn't told to leave Georgia. Georgia medical department told him they didn't know if he would be ready for fall.
Yep.
So he might have got the bag from Miami to go down there and hang out with his girlfriend and never play a game.
Yeah. That's a tricky injury. Those ligament injuries in your throwing elbow. He may practice one day and that thing's swollen up like a damn bowling ball the next day.
And I told my buddy, he's a huge Miami fan, if Carson Beck plays and he has the receivers, he's a first round talent.
Absolutely.
He's got good wheels. He makes good decisions, but Georgia had the most drop passes out of everybody in football last year.
Yep.
Georgia not going as far as they should have wasn't all on Carson Beck.
100%.
But enough about
my
Beck.
portal crush. My portal crushes were John Mateer and Darian Mensah, the kid from Tulane. Those were the two guys that I had as my top two. Mateer wasn't in the portal yet, but everybody knew he was jumping in. He was my number one, and Mensah was my number two. Those were my two favorites that hit the portal. I had Arnold fourth or fifth. I think my rankings were Mateer, Mensah, Murphy, and then Arnold was in that Miller Moss territory for me.
Yeah, well, Mateer hit the portal long enough for him to sign with Oklahoma.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, he went with Coach Ben Arbuckle, who I'm a big fan of, his offense coordinator from Washington State. Reasonable expectation. This is what I spit out as what I think is kind of a baseline, which is 2,800 yards, 25 touchdowns, 10 picks, 64% completion, 350 rushing yards, which I feel like a lot of Auburn fans would consider underwhelming, especially with this receiver core. But in the RPO game, a lot of it depends on receivers making plays after the catch because you're throwing the majority of that short unless it's the one-on-ones, and then that's back shoulders, so that's 15 to 20-yard completions. The rest of it's like arrow screens, hitches, outs, things like that. So I would expect roughly this, and I'd consider this a win. I'd absolutely consider this a win.
Yeah. What the Auburn fan base has to understand is if Auburn's receivers continue to grow the way they should, and Jackson Arnold comes in and they build that chemistry, it don't have to be a 30-yard pass for a touchdown. It can be a 5-yard slant, an out route that they break a tackle, and it's off to the races.
Yep. It
You
feels
know,
like Coach Freeze and this staff and, Marcus Davis. You saw they added Eric Singleton, and with Malcolm Simmons already in the room, and Perry Thompson's abilities after the catch, and Cam Coleman even having his abilities after the catch, it seems like that's kind of what they're doing here, because that's Jackson Arnold's strength, is quick game stuff. He's very
yeah.
accurate in quick game.
And we don't need to forget about Bryce Kane. If he develops,
Yep,
that kid is lightning in a bottle.
100%. So is Derek Smith as well. Just freaks.
And the other kid besides Singleton, they got the other guy. He's got 1 year left. That's a red zone
Weapon.
jump ball guy.
Yep, he high points the ball really well. He's got really strong hands.
Reminds me a lot of a former Bear by the name of Alshon Jeffrey.
Man, I hope so. I really, really hope so.
Brandon Marshall.
The floor to me is 25, and this is if he starts every game. This is if he doesn't crash and burn to the ground. This is, a floor where he maintains the starting job throughout the year. 2,500 yards, 17 touchdowns, 10 picks, sub 60% completion percentage, and 350 rushing yards. This
so
would
you got him at 350 rushing. Period.
Yep, that's around what I expect, because I think we're gonna be heaving that thing, man. I think we're gonna be throwing the ball a lot this year.
See, I think he's going to run for more than that, because I think early on in the season, it's going to take a little while him getting used to the offensive line getting used to him, maybe them gelling together. He's going to have to escape the pocket more.
That's fair. This is more based on design quarterback runs, which I think we're going to be doing a fair amount of with him, because he can do that. I mean, you can see it on the screen. He's a freaking unit. He's compact.
Bro.
He's like 6'1", 215-ish. So he's able to run between the tackles pretty well. So I feel like this 350 yards is more on design quarterback runs, power read, draw stick, and things where he has a two-way go. If it's not there, take off, situations like that, or getting him on the move outside the pocket because he throws well on the run, sprint outs and stuff like that, where he has the option to either rip it or run it. And then your floor, very similar, less yards.
Yeah, I got my baseline. I didn't put a baseline in there. It's somewhere in between the 3,200 and the 2,200. I think anywhere from 17 and up touchdowns. Take it. Thank you, Lord Jesus, and move on. 11 picks. I don't think there's any quarterback in Hugh Freeze's offense that's not going to throw between 9 and 12 picks on a great year.
Yeah.
And I got 350 rushing yards as my floor.
Gotcha. That is, if this is the season, I think Auburn's staring down 7 wins if they're lucky, to be honest.
Yeah, because this is basically the Peyton Thorne season.
Yeah, that's less than 200 passing yards a game. You're probably struggling a lot, and you're struggling to get to 7 wins for Hugh Freeze to save his job. And if this is what we're going to get, I'd rather pivot to Deuce Knight, to be honest.
Yeah, so I think he better buckle his chin strap up and get in the film room and do better than this.
Yeah. If either of these happen, my floor or your floor, just start Deuce. Let's roll with it. Obviously, you don't know that right now, but if he comes out and in 5 games, he's around 200 yards passing, he's having turnover problems, and he's struggling to complete a pass, the writing's on the wall there. Pivot, give it to the young guy. I feel like that would be probably best case scenario, because winning 7 games with freshman Deuce Knight, rather than winning, struggling to get to 7 with a third-year quarterback like Jackson Arnold, I think that would look a lot better, and the fan base would be a lot less ferocious. But I don't think the fans would.
I honestly think it don't matter, because I think if he wins less than 7 or 7 or less, I think he loses the recruiting class, and I think we're looking for a new head coach.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it sucks either way, because we're either going to be walking into the Iron Bowl 7-4 and take a whooping, or we're going to be walking into the Iron Bowl 6-5, and then the recruiting class is gone regardless.
Yeah, I
So
think at the floor you got to go into the Iron Bowl 8 wins for him to
Yeah.
keep his job.
Yeah, you've got
And
to go into that game.
And I might be a homer, but the talent on this team right now, you should have 9 wins going into the Iron Bowl, period.
I would agree. I would tend to agree that this is a 9 to 10 win roster to me. 8 at a minimum, and I think to get anything less than 8, it's going to be a catastrophic injury situation, or it's going to be a coaching problem.
And
That's the
to
only
be
way I see it.
honest with you, I think this is a team that should be able to play with Georgia and should be able to beat Alabama.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about it in the video I put out yesterday. It'll probably be later when they're watching this, but I think it was yesterday. The only real issues I see on this team are what's going to happen at right tackle, 3 technique defensive tackle, and then linebacker. I think if you address 3 technique and linebacker in the portal, I think you're looking a lot better. But I do trust DJ Durkin to figure it out. But I mean, our 2 backup 3 techniques are like 270 pounds. So as long as you go and you land a run defending veteran 3 technique, and you go get a veteran Mike linebacker, I think we're sitting in a great spot, and there's no reason this team shouldn't be going into the Iron Bowl as a real life 12-team playoff contender.
I agree with you, everything you said on defense, but I'm going to pivot to the offensive side, and I'm going to say we've got to find that complement to Damari Alston, because we saw last year that at key points in games when he would have big runs, he'd cough the ball up trying to get more.
Yeah. The running back room, it's an interesting situation because Jeremiah Cobb has been very disappointing. He's had poor vision, which is not something that was expected of him coming out of high school. And he's not been able to break tackles. He's been awful in pass protection. So I don't think I can roll into the year with that being the guy. I do like Darrell Robinson, the kid from UConn, but he's most effective when you can consistently get him carries. I think that's who he's going to be at this level, is just a consistent 4-yard guy. So unless Alvin Henderson steps up and takes that job, which we saw, Tank do, this running back room is looking very average right now.
Yeah, and didn't he reclassify to be in this class?
He did, and I love that kid. He's going to need a year for it. Yeah, I think he's ready between the ears. He's solid in pass pro in high school, and he's got solid vision, but he's like 17 years old. He's going to need a year for his body. And I don't even necessarily think Alvin's ready. It's more the fact that he's a playmaker, so you got to get him on the field. He makes plays. His vision is average, and I don't think he's going to be able to pass protect as a freshman. But when a guy can just make plays like that and break tackles in that way, like Tank Bigsby, his freshman year at Auburn, I didn't think he was necessarily ready. He had issues with him going rogue as well, but he would just make plays, and he figured it out, and he got 800 yards in an all-SEC schedule where he got a combined like 10 carries in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Just get him the ball. Well, that's it.
So, what do you think we need to do next? Our next video. What do the Bubba and the Old Man fans want to see?
Well, tell us in the comments. Tell us in the comments. I've got a list of stuff that we can do. It's off-season time, unfortunately. So it's kind of tough to figure out ideas, but I got some ideas. Let us know in the comments what y'all want to see.
And
That's what's most important.
We'll marry it with what we got planned coming up.
Yep. Let us know in the comments down below. But until the next time, War Damn Eagle.
War damn.
Selena, go! Stop!